All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to week number 137. My name is Mr. McLogan, and this is Open Live Q&A, where I go ahead and answer your questions each and every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on tonight's live stream, there's also a little bit extra I wanted to talk to you guys about, and that is getting ready for pre-calculus. So that is one of the main courses that I have an online course for. So as the year is going on, that is one thing that I do kind of provide to students that are taking pre-calculus if they need some extra, kind of assistance. That is where I kind of an online course and really where I kind of spent most of my time kind of teaching when I was inside the classroom. And one thing I wanted to go live with with that was like one of the things, kind of like the aha moments that I had when I was teaching on pre-calculus. So I'll get into that in just a second. I wanted to make sure though that I had everybody at least on, and went ahead and said hello to, hey Gabe, how are you? Good to have you on. And James, good to have you on. Anwar, very welcome. I did also want to let you guys know that I am also still accepting a tutoring. So if you guys remember from last week's live stream, what I did is I'm opening up some private tutoring. So I just actually went back. I do apologize if you submitted an application. It took me a week to kind of get through. I had to get a whole lot of things ready and prepared for this upcoming year, or for like my course. So I was just kind of super busy this last week. And so that was one of the things I was really kind of working on throughout the week, was getting things done. So I was not able to respond. I do apologize, but I was able to review all of the applications and the videos, and I'm very excited. And I think there's definitely a really great group for you guys, but I wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to go ahead and submit a question or submit a application for tutoring. So if you would, if you are interested in me being a tutor for you, some selected, some tutoring sessions throughout the year, it is free. But the only issue or the problem with that is, or not really problem with that, but the one kind of caveat is, it is something that, there we go. I'm trying to work on my thing. It is something that you are going to have to show your face on camera, and it will actually be on my YouTube channel as well. So that is something that I know is not going to be ideal for a lot of people. A lot of people just, need help, and obviously don't want anybody else to know that they struggle with math. But I think that's really the important thing. That's really what I want to showcase, is people struggling with math and asking questions. I think as a teacher, there's always those students that would never ask a question, right? They never wanted to feel vulnerable or stupid or whatever in their brains, right? And then there was those other students that were constantly asking questions. And you could definitely tell, like, that's the students that got the most out of, the classes, when they're asking those questions, when they're saying, hey, I don't understand this, please explain that to me. And that would be something that'd be extremely helpful as a teacher, to really be able to identify, like, how can I further help you, or how can I re-explain this so that it go ahead and make sense. So I'm going to go ahead and put that application also inside the course, or inside my description for you guys. So math questions, I'll put that right below my pre-calculus course, and I'm just adding that into the description from on there. And then then also what I'll go ahead and then also I wanted to remind you guys that we can do is, I'm also going to have a giveaway for just a free tutoring. This isn't a tutoring like throughout the whole year, but this is just another thing I did last year, where we'll just kind of do like a drawing for a free tutoring session with myself. So that is something, the way to get entered into that is basically just putting in a comment in last week's live stream. So, just any kind of comment that you, any kind of helpful comment, obviously it's going to be displayed on the live stream. So if it's not anything good, then you could definitely go ahead and lose that opportunity for on there. But usually I used to do like kind of like, hey, hashtag math help or something like that. But that was last week, last year. I just put in the chat. So if that's something you're interested in, I can't tutor everybody. And I know a lot of students, really, really need some help. So the cool thing about that opportunity is not a lot of students, enter in a comment on the live stream. So therefore your chances are pretty good. And I'm going to plan on doing this, hopefully for the rest of the year. So we'll kind of see how things go from there. So yeah, so we'll do that before I get into math. I do have some math questions, to go ahead and provide for tonight. If you do have math questions that you would like for me to, if you do have some math questions that you would like me to go ahead and answer, then just go ahead and Submit them at brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I think that was what I had up here, right? Why is yeah, there you go. So you can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. Or also, ladies and gentlemen, also you can go ahead and head up to the Discord, where we just kind of got on some new tutors on the Discord server. So I think it's an amazing opportunity. If you are one of those students that like kind of always feel stuck, or maybe you don't have anybody, you're just started at a new school, or you're in a class, you don't really know a lot of students. The Discord community is amazing because it's students that are just like you. You can answer questions, help other students with their math, and also post your own questions and get help from other students. So it is a completely free, voluntary server. And so, my main advice is, you're going to get what you give. So, try to work to help other students out. And then obviously when times of need, reach out to people and they're happy to help you guys out. All right. So, hey, Lily. Are you doing just pre-calculus, or will you do AP Calc? Yeah, so I'm not doing, I want to get into the calc, maybe calculus. Well, right now I'm not doing, it's not any math on that. So it's let me kind of explain here. So as far as my tutoring, that is just for any course, anything else. I'm not really going up to calculus just because there's a lot of calculus that I got to go back and review. So I don't think I'd have to be doing too much reviewing before the sessions. But as far as that application for the tutoring, that's really for like any kind of math from on that regard. Obviously it has to be something that I'm not going to have to put in a lot of work for to get prepared. So I kind of put that limit up to calculus just because it's been so long since I taught it. But as far as my online course goes, that is something that I only have pre-calculus designed for on that as far as a year-long course. So hopefully that kind of makes a little bit more sense. Mustafa, your video is awesome. Starting calculus. Well, awesome. Congratulations. Best of luck. Thank you very much. I'm not really starting complex functions. Well, go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A and submit your questions. I'm more than happy to start something out for you. That's a great question. I'm actually going to have a video coming up on that, but you could basically kind of think of it like a lot of Algebra 2 topics and then a little bit of introductory into trigonometry, and then some applications of trigonometry, and then, some maybe getting into a little bit of calculus like limits and derivative and stuff like that. But, you're going to cover a lot of Algebra 2 topics as far as like functions and polynomials and rational functions. Then we get into some trig and then some applications of trig. Cool. Lynn, what's your advice that hasn't learned anything past slope? That's a lot. That is a lot. So I would, you're basically want to go through like at least a good, strong Algebra 2 curriculum to kind of get ready and prepared. So I'm not talking about I'm not talking about it this week, but since you brought it up, I will bring it up. As after my diagnostic course, I do have a offer for you to get ready for pre-calculus, which basically is a kind of like a get ready for pre-calculus course. So I have a ton of stuff that really kind of reviews everything that you really need to know and be ready and prepared for pre-calculus. So I'm not talking about it as far as this, but if you do sign up for the diagnostic test, I will send you some emails that will kind of let you like how to get access into that. So therefore you can get some more information. And then actually next week, I will be talking about the pre-calculus, kind of getting ready for pre-calculus, stuff like that. But I also did a video last week as far as getting ready for pre-calculus. It was like 2 hours long, and I covered over 100 questions that you should know. So that's something that's completely free that I would recommend. Like, hey, just, you could watch that video, do those problems, and that should give you a pretty good foundation as you're getting ready and prepared for pre-calc. Limits. Well, I will say I am going to be doing some more calculus videos. So I have a ton of calculus videos, and I'm also going to be doing a lot more calculus. Probably not as much on my channel, but one thing I am doing a lot of calculus is, or at least posting stuff is actually on my TikTok account. So if you want to follow me at Brian McLogan, Megastar, I will be posting some. I am actually going back through the calculus curriculum from on there. So I will be posting some more videos on TikTok, and then eventually I'd probably get those into longer form on calculus on YouTube. But since I'm not teaching a class, I gotta like teach it myself first and then kind of work my way up. We started, have no idea what's going on. Yeah, I'm scared of pre-calc. All of my friends told me that it's a big step. Yeah, it is for sure. Definitely is, Arif. 100%. So let's kind of talk about like, how do you know it's a big step? And that's kind of like the purpose of this. Like, I think I posted it inside that chat for you guys. Oh yeah, it's in the description. But you know, the one thing that I would highly recommend, and this is something that I used to give to my students to do at the beginning of the year. And I would say as a teacher, it saved me a lot of times when we would have like parent conferences, or I'd have to like have a discussion with students, because a lot of times one of the most common things that I'd get from students is like, hey, like I'm good at math, or like I got a good grade last year, or, you know, like I always loved math and blah, 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 blah. And then they would get a test from me or a quiz from me and they would bomb it and they'd fail. And it'd be like, oh no, like what happened? Like, you know, am I a bad teacher? Did I not teach it? Like, did they not study? You know, it's like, what is the disconnect that's going on here? And immediately after that, I would go and look at the diagnostic test. And the nice thing about the diagnostic test is that would tell you, like I have kind of two different diagnostic tests. The first one is the foundations. And that just goes through the foundational skills that you need to know for pre-calculus. And it's not going to cover everything, but I think it's like 32 questions. So it covers a good baseline of like, you know, how well prepared you are walking into pre-calculus. So if you are taking pre-calculus, even if you're taking calculus or algebra 2, like you can take this diagnostic test. I mean, it's basically like an algebra 1 or even pre-algebra, you know, kind of stuff, but it just covers some of these problems that keep on showing up in pre-calculus. And, you know, it's a good barometer of like, if you bomb that or if you struggle with that, which is perfectly fine, to be honest with you, like I've had students fail the diagnostic test, do horrible, and then eventually do well in my class, right? So it is just a way for us to take a piece of data where you currently are at this moment in time. It does not determine how you're going to be in pre-calculus, how you're going to do, or anything like that. Obviously, though, if you do poorly on the diagnostic test, that is telling us something that, hey, either you forgot a lot of things that you're supposed to, or you never learned this, and we need to be doing, you know, a lot more effort to get you ready and prepared for pre-calculus. So that is what I loved, you know, for that assessment. And, you know, because a lot of times when students would struggle in my class, it was the foundations. Like they're not struggling with what I was teaching them, or they weren't struggling with the pre-calculus content. And that's the one thing I wanted to, you know, Arif, let you know is like, the reason why students struggle with pre-calculus, more likely not, and the same thing for calculus as well, is they lack the foundation. They lack the remembering and actually the like true understanding of the content that they need to know. So I would, I was going off of something and then I lost my train of thought. That's where they struggle, is with that foundational, you know, content from on there. I can't remember. I lost my train of thought with things. So I think it's really important to make sure you kind of like recognize that and understand that. And again, like that, at least the good news about that is like a lot of that stuff you can build up on, like you can review that stuff, right? Like that's why obviously in the diagnostics, like I want you to kind of identify that. So therefore you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, as you start the curriculum. I also have an extra pre-calculus diagnostic test. That's kind of like also like a typical one. Like, this one we use to kind of go through gains, right? From the beginning at the end of the year. So I like to give this diagnostic test to kind of, it's basically like pre-calculus questions. I think it's like 20 questions. But again, this one's designed for like, you really shouldn't know how to do most of these questions. So it's usually going to go by pretty quickly at the beginning of the year because you're like, I have no idea do this. I have no idea do this. Now, again, one student said like, what is pre-calculus? Like, yeah, it has a lot of algebra 2, but I mean, these are more difficult algebra 2 problems. So there are going to be some students that'll be like, oh, I know how to do this, or I can figure this out, and they'll do okay. But like, yeah, you're not supposed to be doing very well on this. Now, the good thing about this is what we get into once we start getting into exam season is you can reuse that as like a study tool preparing for the end of the course's exams. And obviously, it was also a great way to be able to see like, hey, look, you didn't know anything at the beginning of the year, and look how much you know. So it really is a great kind of tool to, you know, both of these diagnostic tests, I would say I would highly recommend them for you, as far as, especially if you're taking pre-calculus. The foundation one, I think, is really good for anybody that's in algebra 2 or calculus or pre-calculus, college algebra, college pre-calculus. I think those would all be very like recommended, just to kind of brush up on that content as you are kind of getting ready and prepared into the content. So That is what I would recommend for them. Now, the diagnostic test that I have for you guys, it's in the link that I put in the description. It is, again, completely free for you guys to go ahead and check it out. So all you got to do is, just go ahead and enter in the form, and then you guys can get instant access, and you can go ahead and check it out tonight. And, it's, like I said, I think it's 32 questions, and I kind of forgot how big the second one is, but it's not as big as 32 questions. But, a lot of those are pretty basic, so you should hopefully do all right. Yeah, it is. And then plus, some algebra 2 on steroids, plus some trig, and some applications, and a little bit of calculus. Even though my math isn't that strong. Well, yeah, I think that's good for you. PreCalc is my first day tomorrow. No, you're going to be just fine. PreCalc has algebra and stuff like, there's some intervals and stuff like that. It's the thing about PreCalc is it just accompanies like so much content. And so it brings back like everything you learned from algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry, right? So it's like, you have to be remembering all this stuff. So that's why the diagnostic test is, I think, such an important thing. Cause hence why did I name the live stream? Are you ready? Like, do you really know? Like, a lot of students like, oh yeah, I got an A or a B, in algebra 2 or algebra. Like, math always came easy to me. I can't even tell you how many times I had students like that. And then they come to pre-calculus and they're like, what just happened? Like, I used to always be good at math. I used to love math. And then like, why am I struggling with pre-calculus? Like, it's frustrating. It's really difficult. I think that like kind of journey of helping students kind of overcome those struggles has been one of those things that I have like been able to connect with students the most, because like that's what I had to do like in my struggles as far as overcome the math like that. But I think it's also something that's really important for students to kind of understand that, it's just not algebra. A lot of students like, oh, it's just like algebra 3 or what. Like, no, it's a completely different animal. Like that on steroids, kind of has a point there. So, all right, let's go ahead and, so anyways, if you are interested, I will actually put that in the chat one more time if you guys have it. And then also for those of you guys that just joined on, just a reminder, last week I talked about my tutoring that I was doing. So I'm selecting 4 students to receive free tutoring from myself throughout the rest of this year. And so if you're interested on that, I will put the link here in the description, and go ahead and register. The only caveat, kind of the catch here is it is going to be something that's recorded. It is going to be something that I'm eventually going to put on my channel. And the reason for that is I really want to be able to kind of tell your story, and I want to tell your transformations, and I want to help you. I want to get students that either struggle with math or, are worried about an upcoming class, and like, I want to see them be successful, and I want to be able to kind of document that, because, I talk about my math struggles all the time. But I think when a lot of students just see me doing math over and over and over again on the channel, I don't know. I think it always kind of gets a little bit more difficult to kind of connect with that. I can only talk about me struggling with math so long. Like, I really want to, give people a different perspective from other people all over the world that kind of are that familiar scenario, right? And different ages, different, as I mentioned, different parts of the world, different courses and stuff like that. So that's why I'm doing that. And so if you are interested in that, then go ahead and check out that link to go ahead and check out the link in the description or in the chat to go ahead and get some free tutoring. And then also you guys can see there's a diagnostic test, which you guys can go ahead and check out, which is also something that is free for you guys to go and do. And then each and every Sunday night, I'm also going to do a giveaway. So let's go and do that. We'll get into the math. And then before I do that, just a last minute question. Don't forget, guys, if you do have any math questions you want to submit, go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And then after we do this giveaway, guys, we will get right into those questions. So if you guys have questions on there, go ahead and submit them there. And then also you guys can join my Discord server, because I know throughout the year you're going to have some questions, and the Discord server is an amazing resource for you guys to go ahead and use. All right. So how do you get a free session of tutoring from myself? Well, all you got to do is go to last week's live stream and go ahead and type in a comment from last week's live stream. That's it. And I just posted in the comment. So if you want to go there real quick and post a comment, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that on over here, and we're going to go and do a giveaway. So again, for this giveaway, this is for a free tutoring session with myself. Free tutoring session with myself. And again, it's not tied to the year-long application tutoring. So this is just a 30-minute tutoring session. You don't have to have your camera on. This is just me kind of going back and connecting, with people. So all you got to do is, again, go to last week's live stream. I did put it in there, and yeah, let's go and see what we got. Hope you guys are ready. Oh, I forgot to put it on. Huh. Uh-oh. No, not that one. Where did that go? There you go. Okay. So yes, there is the link, and we'll go to there. How are some of you? I have like 2 weeks left. Ooh, 2 weeks left. Good for you. Yes. Yeah, I am pretending like school has started, even though I'm teaching inside the classroom. I'm just kind of pretending as school has started for me. When I taught pre-calculus, or at least in my pre-calculus course, I do have a unit on limits. So that is like my last limits from there. All right. You guys ready for a little giveaway? Let's go and do it. So free tutoring, 30-minute session. Again, all you simply need to do is reach out to me either on Instagram or on, on Instagram, or you can reach out to me on Discord. Let me know if you are the winner. So anything goes. Let's just roll it. I did like math help. We got 10. We got 1 out of 10. That's an amazing opportunity. And Lilaire, I think you're on. You are. Congratulations. You got a free tutoring. So just go ahead and reach out to me on Discord or on Instagram. Hopefully you're on my Discord server already, and you can go there. And again, congratulations for your free tutoring. Look at you. And you're on the live stream, which is to me even better, because I think like the last 2 people that have been that have won were not on the live stream. So it was kind of a little like meh, but cool. You are the winner. I'm going to go ahead and just post right now in the comments so I don't forget, even though I hope you're still on. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you just did that 17 minutes ago. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and put this in. You won. Reach out to me. Yes, you won. Instagram. Discord. Sweet. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the math. And again, guys, if you do have any math questions or any questions for me, just go ahead and let me know inside the chat. And otherwise, we will... so anyways, now I'll just kind of get into where'd that go? Oh, there it is. So therefore, I'll get into some questions with you guys on the some math questions. So again, these are all pre-submitted to me. So again, at brianmclogan.com/Q&A, you guys can go ahead and submit your questions, and I will take them on. So every Sunday night, 9 p.m. And again, if I don't get to your question, then obviously the best thing to do would be to go to Discord. So I'm not sure if this person is on, but they did ask, like, how could I take some advice for someone who's taking pre-calculus? I would definitely... it's going to be basically what I'm going to be talking about for the next 2 weeks. So the first thing I would take a diagnostic test to kind of see. You don't have to take mine. Obviously for mine, you're going to be getting us, logged in, giving me my email and information basically. But if you have another one, a free one online, it doesn't really matter, but find a diagnostic test, take it, see how you do. Okay. And then kind of get a game plan of action. I would go back and review the material that you didn't do well on, like get prepared for pre-calculus, going over the content that you struggled on for your diagnostic test. And then as you're taking pre-calculus, it's like, you just got to remember, like, pre-calculus is a comprehensive course. So you're just going to want to make sure that you really are staying top on things, just like any other course. Make sure you're doing your homework. If you have questions, make sure you're getting your questions answered. Don't just like give up or skip over things. I think I see so many students in pre-calculus and calculus that, I think just kind of feel like they can get by a lot of times, and that's usually when they get burned. So just make sure you're staying on top of your work, and yeah, like you're spiral reviewing with a lot of content. You're just gonna have to remember a lot of stuff that it's, for many things, it's just been a while for you. All right, the next one is going to be a math question. And this one we have the x equals a negative 5 halves equals 50. So the main thing we need to understand here is, again, like what exactly does the absolute value of an expression going to represent? So let's just kind of go through a quick little review. So let's say I had absolute value of x is equal to 50. So the important thing I want you to understand here is if I have the absolute value of x, right? And what that basically means, let's just do 5. Okay, so the absolute value of 5 basically represents the absolute distance away from 0 is going to equal 5. So if you kind of look at it like a number line, let's say here's 0. Well, if the absolute distance is 5, what that means is like it could be in the positive direction or in the negative direction. So we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'd be a distance of 5 from 0 in the positive direction, as well as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as well as a distance of 5 in the negative direction, right? So what I want you to understand is, like, when we're saying the absolute value of 5, this could equal a negative version, or it could equal the positive version, right? We don't know which one is which. Okay. So absolute value of, it could be a positive version or it could be the negative version. So what we're looking for in this case is, now obviously the x and negative x is still going to give you an x, but that's not going to equal 5, right? So what we're looking for, if the absolute value of x is going to equal 5, then technically what we can say is x is going to equal a positive 5, or x could equal a negative 5, right? That positive or that negative version. So the way to represent this is basically we say, all right, so if x minus 5 halves equals 50, well, we have a positive and a negative version, right? So we can say x minus a 5 halves equals a positive version, 50, right? Or x minus 5 halves equals the negative version, which would be negative 50 in this case. Now, all we simply need to do is just go ahead and solve for x. So to do that, we can just add a 5 halves over here to both sides, and we could add a 5 halves over here. Okay, so how do you add a 5 halves to 50? So let's go and write this out. So 50 plus a 5 halves. Well, the way to add a whole number to a fraction is to change your whole number into a fraction, right? So now that's 50 over 1, and then you got to get the common denominator, so I can multiply by a 2 over a 2. So what that's going to be is 100 over 2 plus a 5 over 2. Well, 100 plus 5 is going to be 105 all over a 2, right? So in this case, we have x equals 105 over 2. And then in this case, now we have a negative. So now this is going to be a negative 50, right? So technically I could say that's a negative 100 over 2 plus a 5 over 2. Well, a negative 100 plus 5 is going to equal a negative 95. So x is going to equal a negative 95 over a 2. Okay. Review Gaussian elimination. Wow, I have not even thought about Gaussian elimination in so long. I've actually never had to teach Gaussian elimination. I only just remember it from actually when I was in college, my college courses. So the main thing, I mean, I don't want to do a whole problem because it takes way too long. The main thing that I'd recommend, obviously, that we want to be able to get to, right, is our reduced row echelon form. So let's just kind of go from here, right? And then you could have like what, your X, Y, and Z, something like that, right? So we want to be able to get to this form. We want to get that diagonal of rows. So let me just kind of give you some pointers, or at least some tips that I remember, okay? So number one is always get the top left. So just get the top left to be a 1, right? That's always what you want to do. You always want to get the top left going to equal. Yeah, this is the very basics of linear algebra, not even getting to the good stuff. I remember like this is like one of the first couple of chapters dealing with this kind of stuff. So, but I don't really remember much else of the linear algebra except for like the eigenvectors. That's about it. So anyways, I want to go and get the top left to be 1. And then from there, what you want to do is go ahead and get the rows. Get the rest of the column to be 0. So not the rows, but you want to get so you get that top left, and then you want to get the column to be zeros. Now, how can you do that? Well, you could swap rows if you needed to. And you can also like add two rows together, and you can also add multiply by a scalar and then add rows together. Okay. So basically you always want to top in that top left. Yeah, this is also, yeah, this is called the identity matrix. But this is just also called the reduced row echelon form. But yes, it's also called the identity matrix because when you multiply by, you have that identity element. But that would be without the XYZ. So the XYZ is going to give us those values for the system of equations. But and then the next one, you're going to move over to the next row. Next column. And then for the next column, then you're going to work on the middle one and then get that to be 1 and then get to everyone to be zeros. So then you're going to go to the middle and middle to be 1. And then you're going to get the rest of the column to be zeros. And again, I'm just going off of memory of, I don't know, let's see, 15, 18 years, which is kind of crazy. And I literally don't even think I've done a problem like this since then. I'm literally just remembering things. And then number 5, you're going to do the last one is you want to get this bottom one, right? So then you're going to get the right to be 1. And then you're going to get the rest of the column. Man, I don't know why my penmanship is looking like crap, to be zeros. Now, again, how do you go ahead and get this rest to be zeros? You just add your rows. You can swap them. You can like flip them around if you need. Like if you already had a 1 up here after getting this to be a 1, like you can actually you want to keep that as 1. So you can go ahead and move your rows but once you kind of get this 1, you kind of like keep it there. You don't really need to swap your rows after that. But you can from the initial, you can always like move rows around as you kind of need. And then but yeah, just remember you can always like add two rows together. You can multiply them by a scalar and add them and everything like that. Oh crap. So this one was saying, when do you know to include the line on an inequality? So if I had like, X is greater than 3, okay, that is going to be what we call a one variable inequality, right? So if I was going to graph that on a number line, let's just call this like the x-axis here. Let's say here's 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So this says X is greater than 3. Well, X is greater than 3, not equal to. So that's an open circle, right? And then like here's 4, 5, 6, 7. So then everything to the right is going to be greater than, right? So if I say Y is greater than, let's just say, I don't know, an X plus 3. Okay, so now this is not a one variable equation. Now this is a linear equation, right? We have an X and a Y. So if I was going to go ahead and graph this, so if I have Y is greater than X plus 3, the student just asked me to do a row echelon form. So, or at least from on there. So Gaussian elimination is usually what you learn usually first, if I remember correctly, before you get into anything with Cramer's rule. But yeah, the question was, can you go over, what was the question? Can I review Gaussian elimination? So that's what we did. So anyways, Y is greater than X plus 3. So again, to graph this, like obviously here, we're going to have to go to the Y-intercept, right? We're going to graph this like it's a linear equation. So 1, 2, 3, we have a slope. Now here though, again, just like in this case, like X was greater than 3, X was not included. So when I have like Y is greater than or Y is less than, it's not included, right? So, you don't want to draw a line, right? Because the line would say that everything is going to be included. So what we're simply going to do is use a dashed line. So to answer the student's question, the student was saying, when do you know when to include the inequality? That's going to be when you're drawing a linear inequality. That's going to be less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So the equal to tells you that the boundary line is going to be included. So that is the way that that kind of works. And all right, so let's go and see if there's any other questions that came in. I do have a little bit more time tonight. Oh, I deleted that. Close this down, so I guess I'll pop it back up. See if you guys have any other questions. No, I don't think so. Awesome. All right. So just a quick little recap, ladies and gentlemen. If you, where was I going to say? What was I had? Or not what I was saying. Where was that? this diagnostic test. So obviously, if you're taking pre-calculus, algebra 2, college algebra, calculus, and you want to go and check out my diagnostic test, it is in the description. I will also go ahead and post it in the chat. I would highly recommend that you guys go ahead and take a look at it. Go ahead and take a look at it and see if it's going to be something beneficial. I know as you guys are starting your classes, maybe you just started class, maybe you just started school, or you are starting up pretty soon. I would highly recommend go ahead and take a look at that diagnostic test. And then also, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in me tutoring you throughout this year, again, it's only going to be a couple sessions and it is going to be recorded. And you are going to have to show your face on this. But if you are interested in me doing some tutoring, then you can go ahead and apply right there. Natasha, you can go ahead and submit your questions to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. That is where you will go ahead and submit your questions. I would 2 sine cosine of theta. I would need to go ahead and work out your problem. So I'll maybe go and take a look at it. Because the double angle would be, that'd be a 4. Cosine. No, that's the cosine one. 2 sine of x. Yeah. If you want to go ahead, please go ahead and submit it to there. Then I'll go ahead and take a look at it. Because if I'm looking at the double angle formula, that's going to be 2 sine of theta cosine of theta equals the square root of 3. Oh, you maybe, well. Oh, I know what you could do. Oh, okay. Actually, all right, I can do this one for you. Never mind. This one, I went automatically double angle. All right. So, but anyways, I do not like answering questions from in there, but I can help you. All right. Natasha, do you know if your angle is, do you know if you're trying to find all the solutions or just the solutions on the interval from 0 to 2 pi or on any given angle? So if you can submit that in there, that'd just be very helpful. So we have 2, come on. 2 sine of 2x equals the square root of 3. Okay. So kind of like was very similar to like the absolute value. The first thing we didn't do it. We didn't have a problem like this, but the main thing you want to do is like isolate here the sign. So I'm going to divide by a 2 on both sides. And then I'll have the sine of 2x is equal to the square root of 3 over 2. All right. Now in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little substitution. I'm going to say, let theta equal, so 0 to 2 pi. Okay. Let theta equal 2x. Okay. So let theta equal 2x. And again, you don't have to use theta. You could use beta. You could use y. You can use anything that you really want. All right. But again, I just want you to see. So sine of theta, right? I'm saying theta equals 2x is equal to the square root of 3 over 2. Now, hopefully in this regard, you're like, oh, I can solve that. Like what is sine of what angle equals 3f over 2? And again, this is between 0 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 2 pi. All right. So we want to solve on the interval, which is basically the unit circle. All right, so sine of what angles is equal to a 3 pi over 2. So 3 pi over 2, that's going to be first and second quadrant because it has to be positive. 3 pi over 2 looks like we're dealing with pi thirds and 2 pi over 3. Again, if I make a mistake, it's late at night, so just let me know. But I believe here I could say theta is going to equal a pi over 3 and theta equals a 2 pi over 3. Because these points is 1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2, right? Remember that sine represents the y coordinate. And this point is going to be a negative 1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2. Notice how the y coordinate is both square root of 3 over 2, right? And sine of an angle represents y. Okay, so therefore, we're all good. I solve for theta, right? Theta equals pi over 3 and theta equals 2 pi over 3. But remember, theta we just used as a place value, right? Theta is equivalent to 2x. So therefore I can say 2x is equal to a pi over 3, right? Because we've got to solve for x. 2x is equal to a 2 pi over 3. Now, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. And remember, guys, divided by 2 is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. Right? So you're multiplying by reciprocal on the top and bottom, and therefore you can say x is equal to a pi over 6. And x is going to be equal to a 2 pi over 6, which is equal to a pi over 3. Now, actually doing it this way is not going to give you all the solutions. So we actually need to adjust it. But those are two solutions. That's going to work. Actually, I forgot. The best way actually to do this is to find all of the solutions for that. So, yes. So it always gets tricky. This is always kind of like a difficult thing, at least in my opinion, to explain. So this is going to give it, but it's not going to give us all the solutions. There's more here. Okay. And it's a lot easier to kind of look at this graphically. When you look at this graphically, like from like Desmos or something, you can visually see it and you're like, oh, it makes all the sense in the world. But when I'm kind of like teaching this as like a tutoring thing, it's kind of difficult to have you kind of visualize what's going on. So let me keep this, but let me show you, this is not going to give you the whole story. Okay. So when you are trying to use your double angles, or at least with when you're dealing with double angles or half angles, I don't want you to do this method. Okay. What I want you to do is, rather than finding all the solutions, rather than finding the solutions between 0 and 2 pi, okay, what I want to do is actually, hold on, let me, crap. Let's bring these in there with there. There you go. I want to bring these all together. Okay. All right. So what I want you to do is, rather than finding the solutions on the interval 0 to 2 pi, what I want you to do is find all of the solutions. So pretending like there is no restrictions. So what I would say then is theta, right? We're still trying to solve this, is equal to a pi over 3 plus a 2 pi n, right? Because if I go here, here's my first solution. If I add 2 pi, that's going to take me back to a solution, right? If I add 2 pi again, it's going to keep on taking me to a solution. And I can do the same thing for 2 pi over 3. I can say pi is equal to a 2 pi over 3 plus a 2 pi n, right? Because n represents any integer. So n could be 1, n could be 2, n could be 3, n could be 4. But if I take this value and I add 2 pi to it, it's going to keep on going around and around. Okay, now let's use our substitution. So what you want to do is find all the solutions first. Even though you're finding the solutions on an interval, it's helpful to find all the solutions first. So now you say 2x is equal to a pi over 3 plus a 2 pi n. And here, a 2x equals a 2 pi over 3 plus a 2 pi n. Okay, now divide by 2 on both sides. Make sure you distribute, right? So now I have x is equal to a pi over, what we say that was, a pi over 6 plus a pi n. And then here we're going to have x is equal to a, remember that was a what, 2 pi over 3, right? A pi over 3. So this is going to be a pi over 3 plus a pi n. So what the important thing I want you to understand is, like, when we were looking at all the solutions on here, all the solutions were repeating every 2 pi, right? Which is going around the circle. Here though, we're adding just pi, right? Now again, we have our two solutions here, but again, as I mentioned, this is not going to give you all the solutions. So what you're going to do is say, all right, we have pi over 6. Now, what happens if I add pi to that? Now, again, remember, pi is equal to a 6 pi over 6, right? 6 over 6 is just 1. So could I add a 6 pi over 6, add to the pi over 6, and would that still be less than 2 pi? Well, if I add a 6 pi over 6, right, which is pi, to the pi over 6, that's going to give me a 7 pi over 6. And yeah, guess what? As long as it's under 2 pi, it works, right? Which would be a 12 pi over 6. Now, can I do that again? No, because if I add 6 pi over 6, that's going to give me a 13 pi over 6, which is larger than 12 pi over 6. So now I just go to pi over 3. And I say, all right, what if n is 1? Well, if n was 1, right, that'd be a 3 pi over 3. So 3 pi over 3 plus pi over 3 is going to be a 4 pi over 3. And again, I can't do it again because that'd give me 7 pi over 3, which is larger than a 2 pi over 3, which is 6 pi over 3, right? And again, you could go in the negative direction, but the restriction says I only want between 0 and 2 pi. So that's why we're not going to include any negative solutions. So again, I would highly recommend looking at this from a graphical approach, kind of visually understand what's happening, because technically what's happening with that 2x is the graph is being compressed. Okay, so that's why you're getting more and more solutions within 0 and 2 pi. But either way, it's it's kind of hard. Hopefully this was helpful for you and this was beneficial. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not, go ahead and sign up for the diagnostic test or the free tutoring. Go ahead and check out the description. I hope you guys can join. I'm definitely looking forward to helping people out with pre-calculus as well as with my tutoring throughout the year. But otherwise, guys, have a great night, and a great week with school coming up or already getting started. And I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.